Hello and welcome to Inside Sports. I'm your host, Todd Blackstock. Today on our show, we're downtown, right in front of Centene Stadium, the new Major League Soccer stadium housing St. Louis SC. We're going to head out to the practice, St. Louis SC2, interview a couple of the players, including Joshua Yaro, the team captain, and we'll weigh in with Coach John Hackworth. Plus, we're going to head over to the St. Louis Sports Commission and check in with Tim Ryan, as the Sports Commission's got some great events coming to town. So stay with us for Inside Sports, coming up next on STL TV.
Game or a stretch of games when you realize, okay, this team is good and we have a chance to make it far?
That's a really tough question because every week we just wanted to be better than we were last week. And so I believe that you look at that from I'm using the word process, but you will look at it, okay, we just had this result, who's up next? How do we get ready? What players are we playing? Who do we need to put in the group? You know, we brought a group of professional players together, a small number of guys that have played pro. We brought a huge number of academy players in here. All of them have contributed. Some college guys that came out of college and had potential. You know, they were now for the first time in their lives, been playing in this continuous 9-month kind of grind. That's pretty impressive. But we got all of those kind of pieces, the right amount of whatever they needed, minutes, training, you know, hard games, good games. So while doing all of that, we kept on going week to week. I would say, in answer to your question, no, I never really said, okay, this is the game that can do it for us. I just thought, okay, we have to get better and better, and we're doing really well. Especially when we were on the road. Like, think about our road stretch in August. That was pretty amazing. And it came off of a tough result in Seattle. So, you know, when you can do those kind of things, yeah, you think, okay, this group's got some character about them that they can persevere through ultimately playoffs and, you know, moments where it's just tough.
You talk a little bit about the chemistry of the team.
That's it. That's building relationships. I think are so vital in any team sport, and the relationships that were built were so solid that now they can start kind of progressing as a group. And that chemistry was, you know, we picked players that we believed were good people. We have a certain profile of what we expect because of our style of play. It's very intentional by Lutz. You know, Bradley is like, the details of how you have to do that are so precise that there's not much wiggle room for a player if they don't have a strong character to them, that they're going to be able to be successful in that. So that's where I think the chemistry comes in, where guys are just willing to go do it, play their role. When their number is called, they're in. You know, they're brave about that. You know, part of it is that we're a developmental team, so we'll make our fair share of mistakes, but how do we react to it? And that part has been really good from the group. So the chemistry, yeah, it's pretty good.
So you're going for aggressive type players, people that can, you know, they can keep the pressure up, keep it going. And are there players that you see with potential that have the right attitude that you can coach up and make them great players?
Yeah, I mean, every single one of these guys, I think, came here with the idea that they were going to play on this team because in 2023 they wanted to be playing in Centene. And why wouldn't you? And, you know, that's maybe what we tried to present to them, this opportunity to grow, get better, and literally take another step in your own individual evolution. How are we going to do that? You don't do that by having a bad team, though. So you have to have a team that comes together. And literally, lifts each other up in moments so that you can, whether it's just as an individual or small group or the whole collective, get better and better. And we've seen that. We've seen that happen. As an example, we've signed Kyle Hebert from this team to the first team. There'll be other guys that we'll announce that have done that exact job. We've seen a lot of teenagers that have literally gone from playing, amateur youth soccer to now the feeling and belief that, hey, I can play with men. I can play with professional men. That's all part of an individual pathway, but none of them would have it if we didn't have this kind of group and environment and culture that we have right now.
Coach, obviously a lot of excitement already for this franchise coming to town, but with your success and if you bring home a championship, what do you think that does?
I think it just kind of, look, we've already done it. To go backwards, it doesn't matter if we bring home a championship. What we were tasked with doing, we've been successful. And mostly we've been successful in the ways that you can't measure on results, because we wanted to do something here that allowed us to be better in 2023. That was the whole reason for having this team a year before we go into the MLS. But everything we do, we wanted to act like we were that MLS team. We're the top team for this club. We're the top team in this city, which is the best soccer city in the whole country by a landslide, So I want to just express to you guys that process is way more important than whether we win a trophy. Now, I want to win a trophy, no question. And I believe we're good enough to win a trophy, but it's gravy at this point for us.
What about the key? Can you explain the key and the celebration, the little prop? It was kind of a rallying point after your last game, the big victory.
Yeah.
2 words, right?
Yeah. I don't know if I can explain that in front of cameras, and that's really, I've been doing that for a long time, and it's a very private moment, so now people in St. Louis have seen the little secrecy that I had for a long time with the group or the staff, and look, we also want to be ourselves, and so we're not bashful about every individual expressing themselves, and me included, because when you work so hard with a group of people, what more can you say at the end of a grind where you just put it all out there, where Bradley uses this term, emptying the tank. You empty the tank, you give every bit of energy you have. It's a good way to celebrate it.
100%. Yeah, I think I believed from the get-go. I don't know if I wrote it on my calendar. I don't know if maybe he did write it on his calendar, but something we knew. We had big goals at the beginning of the year, but we had to take it day by day and, started with those first games, get off to a good roll and good momentum to end up in the playoffs and then take care of North Texas and Tacoma to end up here in the championship.
Obviously a lot of skill out there, but just how has the camaraderie been? How big of a factor is that in your success?
It's huge. You notice it on and off the pitch. The guys really enjoy, being around each other, and I think that translates to on the pitch pretty effectively. New guys have come in, have adapted super well to the team, to the culture, to the principles.
And joining me now on Inside Sports is Josh Yaro, the captain of St. Louis SC2. And Josh, you're from Ghana. You've made your way to St. Louis, and you're having a heck of a year here, in the STL. How do you like it so far?
Man, it's been great. Obviously, if you look at St. Louis as a city, the history behind in terms of soccer is huge, and the fans here are great. It's a nice city. So far, it's been a wonderful year, and I'm enjoying it.
It seems like the fans here in St. Louis, they like to dress up. They like to come to the games, and then they call themselves the hooligans and things like that. And it's all in a fun way, but, you've got to get some of the energy from that, though. When you're playing and you feel the crowd and all the excitement, do you feed off it?
Yeah. No, when they say home field advantage, I think we've had that since the start of the season. Those guys show up, rain or shine. They're always there, and we've been really fortunate that we've had their support throughout the season. And you can see, in the 2 playoff games that we've had at home, it's made a huge difference for us. They're always there with their energy, and as a player, it feels good when there's a crowd behind you and they're loud and they keep pushing you through hard times. And again, fortunate we have their support, and they've always been great for us.
Just look at the development of the city right here. You got the wheel right here. You got Union Station. This is historic. Now you put a brand new soccer stadium right here. Then you've got all these great amenities coming right through here. So What is it like to come into a place when everything's brand new and exciting?
It's great. I mean, as an athlete, you want to have the best of facilities to be able to do your job. And we are really fortunate that we came into an organization that was willing to invest. I mean, again, not many teams really have facilities that are right downtown. I mean, downtown is right there, and we're fortunate that we have our facilities right downtown, and not just any facilities, but really world-class facilities. I mean, you see the stadium, you see the training facilities, and it's amazing. It's amazing. So as a group, we're really fortunate, and we count our blessings for being able to be in an environment that's really professional.
St. Louis University has a world-class soccer program. They're always, one of the top teams each year, and you get to play your home games at Herman Stadium, and you've also played some games over at Edwardsville on the east side. Can you give me a little contrast between the two?
Yeah, I mean, one is grass, one is turf, but I think both places have served us well. Obviously, we started off as SLU, and that was good. That was a good beginning for us. We moved to Edwardsville, and we've had a lot of success there. So grateful that we're able to use both facilities, and it's helped with our season. Obviously we're still waiting to get into our stadium, but those two places are our second home. And we've made it home, and we've had really good success there, and it's helped with what we've been doing. With making sure that we've been able to get through the season and having a home field, and so. Again, really good two universities, really good two facilities, and we're fortunate that we're able to have access to it.
Moving forward, can you talk to the listeners, the viewers, about the team? It seems high tempo. Everybody is on the defensive, high pressure. How do you describe it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really hardworking group, first and foremost. I think there's a difference between having good individual players and having a good team, and we have good individual players, but above all, we have a good team, and that's shown over and over again this season. I mean, the way that we play, it's a lot of intensity with a lot of courage and a lot of character, and you've seen that throughout the season, especially in our two postseason games. And so it's an exciting group to watch. I'm really fortunate to be part of this group. It's exciting, and guys come here every day working hard, and that's what we're about. It's our working our opponents, and when we've done that most part of the season. So I mean, it's an exciting group. Yeah. It's we've gotten where we are, not by luck, but by pure work, and that's shown in our everyday practices and the way we do things.
So before we let you go, can you talk about Coach? Coach Hackworth. What has he done? What has he done to mentor this team into a championship run?
Yeah, I mean, I think Coach Hackworth. It's a household name in U.S. soccer, and everyone that I know that's worked with him has nothing but great things to say about him. It's hard to be in this business for as long as he has and not really have one person that can say anything bad about him. So credit to him, not just as a coach, but as a human being, because I think that really helps us as players when you can have a relationship with the coach and the coach cares about you, not just as a player, but as a human being as well. And he does that really well. His player management, it's unbelievable. But again, he's a great coach, and he's shown that in the way that we've played, in the way that we've approached games, and again, credit to him and all the coaching staff. They put together a team that was able to compete for a championship, and we've done that. And it makes our job easier because they've put a foundation down that we're able to build upon as players. So, I mean, nothing but respect for Coach Hack. Nothing but praise for him for what he's done in his past, with his past teams, and what he's doing here in St. Louis at the moment.
Well, thank you very much, and welcome to St. Louis.
Thank you very much.
All right, Josh Yaro, SCT.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool. To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
And welcome back to Inside Sports. I'm Todd Blackstock. Joining me now is the Director of Communications for the St. Louis Sports Commission, Tim Ryan. Tim, thanks a lot for joining us today.
Thanks, Todd.
I'm looking at your lobby here. It's, I tell you, walking into the Sports Commission, it brings back all the moments and just the plethora of events that the St. Louis Sports Commission has put on over the last 25, 30 years.
Absolutely, yeah. It's not quite a Hall of Fame, but we try to add a little spice from all the events that we've done in the years past here as you walk into our lobby, and whether it's we've got representation from the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, we've got SEC basketball. The Century of Sports kind of tells it all right there from back in 2000, and the Musial Awards and Mizzou football, arch rivalry against Illinois, all that kind of fun stuff over the years runs the gamut.
Sure does, and you've been with the St. Louis Sports Commission for quite some time now, and congratulations is in order as you've accepted the position of Director of Communications.
Thank you very much.
Formerly with Brent Schulman.
Yep.
And Brent was always a friend of STL TV in the city, and you'd see him everywhere, and we expect you in the same capacity.
Well, Brent has big shoes to fill, I'll tell you what.
The St. Louis Sports Commission's always coming out with press releases and new events, and the staff here is working around the clock to bring great things and financial resources to our region. And one coming up called the Shamrock Classic is going to be a classic with a couple of St. Louis natives in the mix.
That's right. Yeah, the City Shamrock Classic features Notre Dame against Cal women's basketball teams, both really good programs in college, women's college basketball. And there's a lot of just connection points that led Notre Dame to bring that game to St. Louis. It's a regular season game, November 12th at Enterprise Center. So we want to, the St. Louis Blues and Enterprise Center were instrumental in bringing that game here. But the hook and why it's coming to St. Louis really is the two head coaches for Notre Dame and Cal are Niele Ivey from, she's at Notre Dame and went to Coriezu High School here, won a state championship, then went to Notre Dame, won a national championship at the women's Final Four here in St. Louis, as it turned out, which we can reminisce about for hours. But and then Cal is coached by Sharman Smith, who was an outstanding player at Ladue High School, went on to Stanford and played in the women's Final Four 3 times, I believe. So, with Sharman Smith and Niele Ivey coaching the two teams back in their hometowns, it just has a lot of, that good St. Louis feel to it. On top of which, we're celebrating 50 years of Title IX, and it's sort of a showcase for how far we've come and maybe how far we have left to go, but showcasing women's athletics and just the tremendous athletes that in a lot of sports, but in this case basketball.
I remember the 2001 Women's Final Four, like it was a couple of years ago. Okay, I probably looked a lot different. We were cutting our teeth then, but I remember our whole City 16 crew at the time, we had reporters all over the city. Mm-hmm. You guys had events, March to the Arch down down Market Street or Clark Street, whichever one it was. There was a march down through the city with basketballs. You had, Keener Plaza rocking.
Yep.
And then the finals, you got UConn and Purdue and, Notre Dame, all
right
here in one arena. And Niele Ivey, the hometown hero. That was a huge deal in Southwest Missouri with Jackie Stiles.
Exactly. That was the fourth team.
I interviewed her in the locker room. She was crying.
Yep.
After they lost.
Yep.
And I said, well, Jackie, just think next time you play basketball, you'll be getting paid. You'll be a pro. And she was a pretty high draft pick.
She was.
Had a nice little WNBA career, and the rest is history. But going back to that, Mark Schreiber, I remember the day he made the press conference.
Uh-huh.
We were all in there, and he gave everybody a little paperweight or something. It was 6, 1 year out, or it was it was it seemed like so far down the road, and then that was 20 years ago.
Yeah,
it's just so amazing.
It is amazing, and it's we love when stuff comes full circle, and it's a series of full circle moments, really. And you think about the couple of Final Fours, the women's Final Four that you just mentioned, that just so happened to have Jackie Stiles and Southwest Missouri State, now Missouri State, make it to the Final Four, a Cinderella run, and then to have Notre Dame come too with the hometown Niele Ivey and that whole storyline. It was that was magical. And then even thinking about the 2005 men's Final Four in Illinois, having their magic season that ended here, one win short of their ultimate goal, but but how cool is that to have those two major events hosted in St. Louis, which are, they're bid on years in advance. You can't plan for that. So those are some of the happy memories that come around, and for someone like Niele Ivey to play high school basketball in St. Louis and then go on to major college basketball at Notre Dame and make it to the Final Four and have it be in her hometown. And now we fast forward 20 years later, and she's going to be the head coach of Notre Dame women's basketball, coming back to her hometown, albeit against another one of the St. Louis basketball legends in Sharman Smith and her outstanding career at another basketball powerhouse from Stanford. So these full circle moments just add to the sizzle and the interest and the fun and the storylines, and I think on November 12th at Enterprise Center, it's going to be a great atmosphere, a great basketball game, and a lot of fun.
Recently, the press releases have come out, and you guys have finalized a deal between Mizzou and Memphis. They're going to play at the Dome in 2023. Now, how did you guys pull that off? Because I remember we had the Illinois-Mizzou series for like 6 years in a row, and Mizzou kind of ran the table on that one. It was very exciting, though, because there was orange in the crowd, there was black and gold, and a festive downtown, as much as an NFL game or weekend could be.
Absolutely, and we always called that our bowl game in St. Louis. It had that bowl game kind of feel. It had a rivalry feel. It had the crowd split in half, black and gold with orange and blue, like you said, just like the Bragging Rights basketball game. And I had the chance to experience that game as a fan and as a member of the Sports Commission in the later stages of that 6-year run. And since then, we've been dying to get big time college football back to St. Louis, particularly with Mizzou and/or Illinois. And the conversations have never stopped. It's not like after that 6-year run we just said, okay, that was a lot of fun and we're good. We've kept the conversations going. We want a game here every fall, if we can. And so it's been 13 years, unfortunately, but between Mizzou football coming and playing a game here, but we finally got it done with a fantastic, new athletics administration, Desiree Reed-Francois and her team, and working with, the partners we have at the Dome at America's Center and Matthew Dewey and his great squad there, and then, our St. Louis Sports Commission kind of convening all the pieces together and making it go. Mizzou took care. We did not get involved in moving the game from Memphis. That was all Mizzou talking to Memphis and that relationship. But, we provided an option for Mizzou to have it as a neutral site game instead of, putting it back on campus at Columbia or anything like that. It was a unique opportunity, and I think Memphis recognized that too. Memphis isn't far. Granted, it may be it will be a Mizzou tilted crowd for sure in St. Louis, but, Memphis is just 4 hours down the road, and all the connections that it's Tigers versus Tigers, and it's the athletic director at Memphis used to be a athletic staffer at Mizzou, and you've got the barbecue competition, Memphis versus St. Louis. We'll have, I'm sure none of this is set in stone, but we envision Battle of the Bands and pep rallies and sort of a bowl week, kind of whole week of activities leading up to kickoff on Saturday, September 23rd, 2023 at the Dome.
Wow, I can't wait for that. That's going to be so exciting. You got the Musial Awards coming up again, right around the corner. It creeps up every year. It's one of the heartwarmingest moments of TV I watch every year. If I'm not in the crowd, I will watch it, on tape or when I can see it, if not live. And it's just a fantastic production. And what do we know about this year?
Well, we're still working to solidify some of the honorees. We have a lot of them locked in, but we're kind of waiting for one or two more pieces to fall into place to announce the whole slate. But to be sure, we are really thrilled with the stories that we have and that we're going to be able to tell to the local audience in St. Louis at Stl Theater on November 19th for the live show. but it's also a nationally televised event now on CBS, and that'll take place in December, the televised broadcast across the nation in late December on CBS again. So we're thrilled with the exposure nationally of the show. We're proud that St. Louis is the epicenter of sportsmanship. You know, it's one of the things St. Louis is known for, you know, the best fans in baseball and applauding opponents for a great play and, you know, picking each other up and being charitable and philanthropic and just all those good things. Loyal fans, knowledgeable fans, and classy fans. And that spirit of the St. Louis sports fan is kind of what makes the Musial Awards being the epicenter of sportsmanship here in St. Louis to a national audience means so much.
We've got postseason basketball again next year. The Missouri Valley Tournament returns to St. Louis. There's more NCAA events coming. I know people, they can go to your website to check out all the events coming up. PGA golf even in 2030 down the road. So you guys really plan far out.
We do.
We did want to acknowledge before, I guess, the big parades and the big celebrations that Frank Viverito, the longtime president, is retiring, and Mark Schreiber is stepping in, and we know Mark's going to do a wonderful job in that position. And what are your thoughts over the years, working with Frank and then now having Mark segue into that spot?
Oh gosh, I mean, so many things come to mind, and one of the things that we like to tout, and really when we're going out to, you mentioned how far out we're booking events, and the NCAA championships coming up. We've got the Frozen Four in 2025, and other exciting things in the works. One of the things we use to sell St. Louis is the longevity and experience of our staff here at the Sports Commission, and our reputation for, taking big events and making them bigger and raising the bar and leaving them better than we found them. And the tone for that was set by Frank 27 years ago when he started as the president of the Sports Commission, and he's created a culture that with this longevity of the staff has been tremendous. So everyone knows Frank around town, and we're going to miss him tremendously. I don't think he's going to go far. I'm sure he'll be staying connected with us as a consultant or in some kind of role. But Mark Schreiber has been here since 1998, and really was a volunteer or an intern before that, dating back to the 1994 Olympic Festival. Mm-hmm. So Mark's been involved forever and has learned from Frank, and Chris Roseman's been here, our other vice president, since 2000. So you see just the longevity of our leadership and then trickle on down to members of our staff that have been here a decade or more. And it's quite a great team that Frank has built and sustained and maintained over the years, and Mark's going to take the reins and take us to new heights.
Tim Ryan, thank you very much.
Thank you, Todd.
Tim Ryan,
Absolutely.
Director of Communications for the St. Louis Sports Commission.
Absolutely.
That's our show for today. Especially like to thank you for watching Inside Sports on STL TV. Experience St. Louis.
STL TV. Experience St. Louis.